That's Kapichat! That's Kapichat! That's Kapichat! What's up? Alright.
How you doing?
Not bad, are you?
Not too bad. I'm a bit sleepy.
Oh, yeah.
Ate too much.
You're a bit jumpy as well. Yeah, a little bit. You're okay now. You're fine. You're fine. So we got 7 minutes until tonight's guest is arriving.
I need to do some research. Is it too late to do some research so I can do my intro properly?
7 minutes. That's plenty of time.
Yeah.
Don't know who it is. Some guy. Some guy. So I was thinking. I think if anyone watches this, they must be skipping past this bit because it's just us talking to each other. So I thought I'd introduce a new feature. In my head, it was going to have I might edit it in. It was going to have like a theme tune, and be Das Kappa News, Das Kappa News, Das Kappa News. Because we're relentless in what we're doing. So perhaps this is more like a personal diary, actually. Just have a look at what the hell are we doing at the minute, and what have we done, and reflect, and to share the news. Because certainly today, there's some breaking news coming out of Das Kappa Camp. So yeah, we've been chatting to another man today, haven't we? Via text message.
Yeah, we have.
A young man
His,
goes by the name of Matthew.
yes, yeah, and his name is also, because we're covered in it, his name kind of works quite nicely for us.
Matthew Clothes. So yeah, a little while ago we got Matthew Beard of Call to the Faithful, local band, to sing on one of our songs.
Yeah.
We sent it off to him. We didn't hear from him for ages. We presumed that he just really hated it, and he felt really awkward and didn't want to sing on it because it's a Das Kapitan song. He wants to sing on that.
We figured after an hour, if it's not returned, then surely he's not like.
Yeah. Took him about 4 weeks, and it came back, and it was absolutely amazing. We were totally blown away by it.
Yeah.
So in true us style, we couldn't wait to put it on something, so we're just going to release it as a single this week. Done.
Turns out the boy can sing.
Yeah. Well, you sent a text today to that. We've got our own little Das Kapitan's Call to the Faithful group chat going on now, and you didn't say to him earlier, whilst I was busy, and so couldn't respond at the time. It makes a nice change to mix vocals that are in tune. So
I was talking about my own ones.
So yeah, that's what's going on, isn't it? We've made a video.
Yep.
Probably stick that out tomorrow, obviously with the song attached, because that was help. It's going straight on Bandcamp. You've been doing that today, and uploaded it to the streamers to be streaming on Spotify's and stuff. When?
Yep. 26th of this month. What month are we in now? May. 26th of May, I think.
May, also known as Album 5. That's how we plan the year now.
Yeah. 26th of May. 26th of Album 5. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So this video will probably go out Saturday anyway, this Kapichat. So yeah.
So in that case, it came out on Bandcamp yesterday.
Yeah. So go check it out on Bandcamp. The video will be on our YouTube. I think Matthew is putting it on the Call to the Faithful stuff as well. So yeah, we've got that going on. We're getting into video editing this week. We've got a green screen. You have been working on floating heads.
Yeah, it works well, doesn't it?
So that's going
Bouncing them around a room.
We've rehearsed for Doc Mason next week because we're playing live for the first time ever on Doc Mason. Yeah. We played through the songs quite badly and went, yeah, that'll do.
One more practice, we'll be all right.
One more, that'll be all right. Yeah, we can't do it this time, but next time that'll be fine. So CDs, we've sold out of CDs this week.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, it's amazing.
I can believe it. You're on sale and then just immediately sold out.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. The support that people have given us for those CDs. How many did you make and upload and put on there?
One
CD.
Limited edition. The reason why it's limited edition and there's only one done is because I put the wrong artwork on the back. And so it's limited edition, one of a kind, and it is literally one of a kind because that one's never going to be done again because it's the wrong artwork.
Is it a blank CD as well?
I did test it; it worked. Well, I went up to number 10 anyway.
I remember when I was a teenager, I bought a Black Grape, Shaun Ryder. I bought a Black Grape single and it had a Neil album diamond, actually, Neil Diamond album on the disc. Yeah, so I got a £10 Neil Diamond album for $2.99.
I probably prefer that.
Yeah, Mum was happy with it. Loved it.
Win-win.
Wow, we've been on loads of podcasts this week. We've been on Holy Crap. Mention Holy Crap podcast. Check out Holy Crap. We absolutely love that.
Yeah, it's a brilliant show. That is.
Absolutely. Yeah, over in the Americas. And the guy on there, John Kennedy, is originally from Norfolk. So we're now known on that as John's Boys.
Yeah, he's a Norwich boy. Norwich.
Noise Merchant. Yeah. On Pete Roman's podcast again, radio show.
His show is consistently good. Always good.
Brilliant show.
Hands on that.
Collar's podcast. Pop your collar.
I listened to that today. It's quite good, actually.
Really good, isn't it? Shout out to the old Collars, our other collaboration buddies. I don't know if we've announced that yet, have we? Just have.
Yeah, I don't know. Possibly. Can't remember.
Got collaborations coming out of the eyeballs.
Yes. Yeah. It's a bit more difficult, isn't it? A bit harder.
What's that?
Collaborations compared to just our own things.
Yeah. Well, we're working with talented people.
Exactly. When we're mixing it and everything, we're really worried about, I'm really worried about kind of making sure they're happy with it. Whereas our stuff, we just do the normal kind of template stuff and that's ready. That's done.
Yeah. That's the sound. There's a sound coming out of that.
Exactly. Let's put a bit more distortion on it and yeah, it's fine.
So that's two collaborations now. Well, actually, we've got a third collaboration really because in a way, because on the next album, shout out to Oscar.
Oscar, I forgot about that one.
His YouTube name for a bit. I think his name is just Oscar, but because it was typed out with lots of A's. Would you like to say Oscar? Oscar, album 6. A young man from down south. He got chatting to us, plays the bass, and sent us a bass idea. Turned it into a song. Bloody good song as well. Play it cool. So another collaboration. So lots of stuff. So that was Das Kappa News. So thanks for joining us on Das Kappa News. Good timing.
Nice feature.
Sam Luce is in the waiting room.
I'm just
giving it away now. Oh, Sam Luce.
Sam Luce, everybody.
Sam Luce. Got your intro ready?
No. Yes, I have. Yeah.
Cool.
Hey!
Wow, there he is.
How are we doing?
Cool. How you doing, Sam?
Good, man. You?
Yeah, good. You've got a really clear camera.
Wow. Oh.
Jesus. Yeah.
Hang on, you paused though.
You paused.
Your camera's amazing, but your internet's rubbish. Oh, that's a beautiful still shot.
Yeah, I love it.
That is a 4K if ever I saw it.
Come on. Hey! Hey! That's much better.
No, I think it was going on. I think it was connecting to the Wi-Fi, like to the house, all the way down the end of the garden, which is well annoying, but it's working.
Yeah, we've got that. Now we've got really good quality. It's perfect.
Try it really quickly with my good camera and just see if that's not going to.
Yeah.
Oh,
cool. Look at that.
Is that all right?
Yeah, it's great.
Hold on. I think,
that's perfect.
Yeah.
What camera is that then?
That's a Sony A6400.
Nice. I'm going to research it now.
I got it a couple of weeks ago, I think. And yeah, it's wicked. It's really good.
Yeah, well, we'll talk cameras and YouTube videos and stuff in a bit. Because I know you've started doing a YouTube channel, and I did. I've got to be honest. I do a Facebook stalk of our guests before they come on, and I did notice a picture of your new camera. So I thought we need to talk about that. And before you came on tonight, we had a quick conversation via text about the excitement of which microphone to use, which camera to use.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's
I'm on my laptop because I foresaw the fact that I might have issues with the camera, and my studio computer hasn't got a webcam attached to it. So I thought, well, I could either go all fancy pants on the studio computer, have a great mic and all that, or I could actually do the sensible option and have the backup of the FaceTime camera. And I'm glad I did.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. It's worked nicely.
The mic's just here. I could maybe just put it next to just put it there.
See, that's still a good one. It still looks like a good one.
Nice. So I was watching one of your videos the other day, and again, we'll talk about this in a bit, but it was the comparison of two microphones.
Yeah.
You had a very expensive microphone and not quite so expensive one, and very, very detailed. So we'll come on to that in a bit, though. Cool, we need to do introduction first. Steve, can you stop looking around your room and do an introduction?
Sorry, so I was distracted. Something shiny. Yeah, this is Sam Luce. He is what I'm known mostly for, apart from his YouTube channel, which has given me lots of advice, which I've annoyingly not followed because my attention span isn't good enough. But I really should be following it because then I'll be a much better producer. I'm rambling again. But he's a sound guy who's done sound for us at Voodoo Lounge.
Yeah. And
he did the Snuff gig, I believe.
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
Snuff are coming back, aren't they? They're coming back to the Voodoo Lounge.
They are. We got tickets.
It'll be amazing. Yeah. Do you know what? I've bought tickets just because I'm not sure if I'm doing sound or not, and I want to be there either way. So I've got them as a backup just in case.
Yeah. Yeah, we got tickets a couple of weeks ago for that, which was quite nice. Yeah. Secret ones, which is good. But can't wait for that. But I know what I know Sam mostly for is for sound production at the Voodoo Lounge, and a sterling job he does as well. Always good sound there.
Yeah,
it's a great venue. I love it there. It's fantastic.
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely brilliant.
Was that the introduction, Steve? You finised?
I think so. Yeah.
that did tail off slightly. Apologies, Sam. That wasn't his best. But no, I think you kind of stuck out to me, Sam, when I've met you, when you've been doing the sound, and you've done the sound at Voodoo Lounge, like you said. You also were doing the sound when I played on the back of a lorry in Emneth, which was a high point.
Yeah, I think with Burning Coats, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah. So
many moons ago with a PA about that big.
That's it. Yeah. But always know you as the friendly guy, like the really friendly sound man who has never asked me to turn down as a guitarist. So,
I knew you wouldn't. There was no point in asking because I knew you wouldn't. So what's the point?
You're the only person that's never asked me to turn down in like 15 years. So
you know what? I think when you're doing sound with that kind of stuff, it helps so much having been in bands, because there's nothing worse. With the drummers, you just let them set up, and you're going to set up round them, because if you put stuff in the wrong place, they're going to move it, and there's no point in. You might as well just let them set up and let them do their thing. Then you can do your thing, and if you need to say to them, I think it might be best if you do this, then do it. But
yeah,
what's the point in getting in the way?
I think that's it. And so many sound guys over the years they've asked you. I understand they're trying to get their levels right. They've got a job to do, but your levels come down so much sometimes that all the dynamics as a guitarist you normally rehearse with. And if feedback is really important to you as part of your set, and the dynamics of the sound that you have, and then all of a sudden you've got no option for feedback, and it just makes you feel flat and a bit rubbish. So, we do appreciate when a sound guy kind of says go for it. And
I think it's nice to find that happy medium. I remember one band, I can't even remember who it was now, but I say I remember them, and their sound was that they had a Telecaster going through a wah pedal, but the wah was like fully cocked, but not actually using it. It was just that like kind of sound. Mm-hmm. And he gave it the proper, it's my sound. And that's what I do. And I don't know, there's a limit, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like there's having a like aggressive brash tone, and there's like ruining your hearing for the rest of your life. Yeah. So sometimes you have to draw a limit, but it's heavy guitar music, it's going to be loud, isn't it? So that's kind of why we do it.
Yeah,
I think.
Can we take you back to the start, Sam? We're going to try and have a bit of structure to this. We normally fail with that, but I know you're a local boy.
Yeah.
When did your love for music start? Favorite bands? When did you learn instruments? When did you get into sound? Take us back.
So I was originally from Wisbech. 10 fingers, 10 toes, just in case that question is coming up later on.
Yeah, I'm Wisbech as well. Same here. Yeah.
Yeah, parents both classical musicians, so kind of grew up with music all the time. Used to go to concerts and see them play and all this kind of stuff. From when I was about, I don't know, under 10, I guess, like playing piano. I was never any good, but you know, you got to get a little bit of something. Then started playing guitar, because my dad played guitar as well as violin, which is first instrument. And then I think it all kind of changed. My brother and I used to go up to my cousins up in Carlisle every summer. And one particular summer, when I was about 11 or 12, the oldest cousin was well into Iron Maiden, and the younger cousin was well into Aerosmith. And that summer has got a lot to answer for. That was kind of the starting point for everything. So from there, we just got every Aerosmith album, every Iron Maiden album, and then just moved from there really, and just went into heavier stuff and lighter stuff, and music just became absolutely everything then. From the age of 13, so what was that, 2001, we started, my brother and I, we started our band Smokescreen. It's our 20th year this year. We're still going, still plodding along. So that's been a labour of love for a long time. I started doing sound, I don't know, I guess I got a recording setup. My dad bought me a recording setup from a bloke that we used to know in Gorefield, and he had this like digital setup, and then like a hard disk recorder and all this, and he got us this. We had a fantastic like music room at home where mum and dad would practice, and then it gradually became our rehearsal room and then studio. So I got all this stuff and like a crappy old computer, and started recording bands when I was about 16, I guess. Kept doing that, went to uni for it, back every weekend recording. Just did that really, just haven't really stopped. I worked at a radio station for a while, kept the studio going. Yeah, it's been the one kind of constant thing throughout my life, just music and the techie side of it, I guess.
So wait, how old are you, Sam?
32.
32, a little bit younger than us. And how is because I know your brother, Tommy. Like I say, I know him. I've spoken to him a number of times out and about. And
I'm normally known as Tom's brother. Right. Everyone normally knows my brother, and then it's kind of you introduce yourself. I'm Sam Luce. You're not Tom's brother, are you? Yeah, I am. Yeah, cheers, nice one. Thanks for that.
Is he? Are you a similar age?
He's 18 months older than me.
Oh, okay, yeah, similar age. So in terms of growing up, you two were quite close, were you?
As soon as music took hold, we had the exact same friends, we had the exact same interests. Everywhere he went, I went, and we were just like that from them really, and we still are really. We still see each other a lot. He's just down the road. He's just buying a house just a couple of streets away from me at the moment. So I'll see more of him. So yeah, we still do loads of stuff together, and he's still my first port of call for anything guitar, and I'm still his for sound and stuff. So yeah,
I mean, because he's learning guitar, isn't he? He's not bad.
Yeah, I've taught him a couple of chords, but I don't know. He's hit a bit of a brick wall with it.
Yeah,
he can play C and he can play G, but he's playing G after C.
Yeah. No, I've seen him a few times, and he struggles, doesn't he? Bless him.
Yeah, bless him.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a natural gift for the guitar, hasn't he?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, he always had that, and yeah, bastard. I don't know. I always kind of dabbled in loads of stuff. I always played a bit of guitar and a bit of drums, and then singing was kind of my main thing. But Tom was just guitar constantly, like never looked at anything else. He just sat in his room and did guitar, So that's how you get bigger, don't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you have to be you've got to have the natural talent, but be relentless with it as well, haven't you?
Absolutely.
Got that desire to be relentless.
Yeah. We've always said that we kind of got to a level that we were completely happy with, that you can do the chords that we want to do, and we do the songs that we want to do, and then just kind of stopped learning anything after that.
Yeah,
probably about a year after we started.
That comes. It depends what point of your life that comes as well, because if you get to that point when you're kind of 16, then there's no point to sort of stop. You might as well carry on. But if you get to that point when you, I don't know, late 20s or something, you got family around the corner, then there stops being the opportunity to learn anymore, because after that point, the dedication has to take place, doesn't it? And you have to.
It does, yeah. And it also completely depends on what kind of music you're into as well. If you, I've never been into the particularly technical kind of guitar playing anyway, so it's never been anything that I've really wanted to learn on that. So, but
I wanted to sound like Kurt Cobain, I guess, when I first picked up guitar, and after a week I'd done it. So that was
exactly, yeah. Someone's got to like them, haven't they? Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. So you're still doing the band with you? Because I've been looking on YouTube as well. I knew you were in that band, in the band Smokescreen, but you can play as well, though, can't you? You are a very good guitarist.
I'm not, but thank you for saying it.
Well,
I sing in the band. Like I've sung since day one, and then however long ago it was, 5 years ago maybe. Our guitarist left, and then we just didn't want to get anyone else in. But we needed 2 guitarists, so it was kind of like, I'll give it a go, whatever.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was good. It was one of the hardest things we've ever had to do, like relearning all the songs, because I wrote the songs and the vocal lines to just have one hand on a microphone. I wasn't even bothered about what rhythms they were playing on the guitar, and then I had to do both, and it was just learning the songs completely again. It was nightmare. But I plod along, you know. But I'm very much the rhythm section, you know. I don't even pretend to be able to play any of the lead stuff that my brother can, you know. I'm more than happy to let him do that. And we often have a little joke about that on stage as well, but it's it's a bit of fun. But I'll let him do that.
So can you turn your hand to anything then? Can you probably pretty much play most things?
Well, band wise, I tend to be able to play a bit of everything. Yeah, sing, play guitar. Drums are probably about the same as guitar, and bass. I can whack out a little bit on keyboard, but not a massive amount. I have a lot of artists that kind of contact me for the studio, and they'll say, well, I've got this song, it's a demo, can you do everything? Then I'll come and do the singing on top. And it's that's like a fun day in the studio, you know. So I'll do all that. So that keeps me in check, really, and that keeps the chops up. So I enjoy doing that. But it's always the case if they say, I want a guitar solo here. It's, Tom, I want to do a guitar solo, mate. Always. So maybe I never give myself the opportunity to learn, but I'm sort of alright with that.
Yeah. I mean, we've got to talk about the fact you grew up in this area as well. Anyone we talk to that grew up anywhere near here, we have to talk about it. So you're a bit behind us because Steve's hit 40, obviously, by the looks of him. I'm about to get there. When we grew up in Wisbeach, when we were teenagers, 15, 16, there's a real thriving punk scene. Had that gone by the time? Was that still there when you were teenagers?
Do you know what? Because I grew up in Wisbeach and I lived there until I was 18, 19. I went to uni, but I went to secondary school in Spalding, where I live now. So all of my formative music, by the time I'd got into music, I was all in Spalding. But some stuff was in. I mean, the Bowling Green is legendary. You know, everyone knows that. Went down there a few times. It wasn't the place that I'd always go with Wisbeach, but if there was a band playing, then we tended to find ourselves there. But I don't remember. I don't think we Smokescreen ever played any pubs or anything in Wisbeach. I don't think it was ever. I think it might have been a bit before our time. We did a couple of the little festivals and stuff, but Spalding was where it was at for us. You know, I always kind of romanticized this idea that when I was 15, 16 or whatever, you'd go to a gig on a Friday, Saturday night. You didn't care who was playing. You went because there was a gig on. Do you know what I mean? And it wouldn't even be an option. You know, you didn't have to. The sentence never came out of your mouth. Are you going to that gig on Friday? Because you knew anyone that you wanted to talk to was going to the gig because there were notes, you know. Which is a strange thing now, really, isn't it? You know, you do have to drag people along to gigs. And
you do. Yeah. Was there a pretty good scene in Spalding then? Was it
amazing? It was brilliant. Again, I'm probably romanticizing. It's probably shit, to be honest, but I'm romanticizing it. But so there was the Black Swan and the Ship Albion, which were the two that we used to play. Sort of two different ends of the town. And Friday, Saturday night, most Friday, Saturdays, they had bands on. And if you weren't in one, you were in the other. Or if you had two, you go and see the first band in the Ship and the second band in the Swan, and then leg it for the headliner for the Ship Albion, you know. It was brilliant. And the Ship Albion, the Black Swan had the annex out the back, which is this big old room. And it was just like cobbled together PAs. And looking back on it, we'd probably cringe, you know, but it was ours, you know, it was amazing. It was brilliant. And it's that horrible like scene word, you know, but it was, and it was brilliant. And then we kind of moved into Peterborough a little bit, I guess, when we wanted to gig some more. The Park was there at that point, you know, Club of No Name, whatever you want to call it, which was a beautiful place. I used to love that place. But they'll go, don't they? All the
well, that's going to be my next question. Is I know that Wisbeach is dead now. In terms of music options, are there any of those options still there around Spalding?
Nope. No, Black Swan's closed down. A mate of mine, if you go on Instagram and have a look at the Wrong Uns Records show,
right,
a man called Gozzy, it was part of that old crew, as it were. And he, once we're allowed to, he's going to be putting on some gigs in Spalding. And we're going to try and get something going again. So that's going to be interesting. And it will be a bit of everything. I haven't really spoken too much about it yet, but we're trying to get involved and trying to make it happen. So yeah, something's going to happen. At the moment, I think the Punch Bowl might do covers bands, but it's just covers bands. There's no real. It's all about the Voodoo Lounge. That's why everyone loves the place, because it's amazing as well. But it's it's the one kind of jewel in the crown of this area, isn't it? You go there and Michael's just the nicest, most softly spoken man in the world. But don't cross him. Don't even think about crossing him. And it's just, they've got a great PA down there, and it looks amazing. The beer's decent prices, and it's, what more can you want? That is where everyone really wants to play, isn't it?
We absolutely love it. Yeah, aside from whether you go to Cambridge or Norwich, within an hour around here, it's the only place, isn't it? It really is now kind of the only place, unless you're a covers band. Your options are gone.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm fortunate because I work in Stamford as well, sort of part of the week. So I'm always over there, so I can step in and see him and stuff. So that was kind of how I got to do sound there, But I can't think of anywhere else. I mean, there's a gig venue in Peterborough, isn't there? But yeah, it's all about the Voodoo Lounge, really.
Yeah. No, we'd rather go to Stamford than anywhere else.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving on.
Did you ever wish that you lived somewhere else in the country because of music? Do you wish you were in somewhere else with a more thriving music scene, like a city or anything?
I always liked Nottingham. I went to university in Leicester, but it was split. My course was split, half in Leicester, half in Nottingham. And we'd always done Nottingham loads. We played a load of venues there. We did Rock City a couple of times. We always used to go out there. And that was a great place. I wouldn't say, I don't know. I've never been asked that question. I wouldn't say I've ever had it in the back of my mind that like I should have grown up in London, or I should have grown up in Bristol, Manchester, or whatever. I guess there's always part of you that wishes like, oh, imagine if I was there in the early 80s for Iron Maiden's first gig in East London, or like up in Manchester in 94 or something like that. But I don't know. I think what we had, the small town stuff was just brilliant, because you knew absolutely everyone, and you had some great bands come around as well. You didn't have any massive bands, but you had some. It didn't matter how big they were, because everyone went out to see them, and it was just buzzing when you're there, So I guess the short answer is no. I never yearned to be somewhere else. You just make do with what you got, which is a very Fenland way of looking at it, I suppose.
It is. But we're still here for a reason. I guess we all at some point could have chosen to not be here, but for whatever reason, we've chosen to be here, I guess.
Absolutely.
We've touched on this a few times in conversations about kind of university. Because Steve, what was the course you did at uni?
It was. What was it? It was just music technology. Is what it was. Yeah.
Mine was a degree in popular music studies, which covered a bit of everything. A half-assed attempt at a bit of everything. And what did you do, Sam?
The title was audio and recording technology. So it was in Leicester at De Montfort, but then it was half De Montfort doing the kind of sciencey, mathsy stuff, and then over in Nottingham at Confetti, doing the studio stuff, the mastering stuff. So that was good. There was a big old studio there that we used to do bits at. If you look at Confetti now, like 10 years on, it's unbelievable, that place. Like the amount of money and structural stuff they've had done to it is phenomenal. But yeah, so it was audio and recording technology, and then I went on to work I lived in Nottingham after uni for a couple of years, and worked for one of my old lecturers at his studio.
So this is the difference. Me and Steve went to uni to do music, and we fell out of love with it all. Whereas this is the thing. I've heard of a lot of people who do that. I don't think I never saw music as, this is going to sound like the most wankerish thing I've ever said in my life, but I never saw music as like an addition to what I was doing. Music was what I did, whether I was at home with parents or whatever, like it was all about music. And that didn't really involve a lot of listening to music, which funnily enough, it just involved a lot of doing it. So I was at uni and I'd be in lectures in the week, and then at the weekends I'd come back and I'd be gigging, or I'd come back and I'd record a band or something like that. So I never really gave myself the opportunity to fall out of love with it, because I don't know, I never really thought myself as in love with music in the first place. It was just always there. It was never a choice to get into music. It was just
that was what the Loose family did. You know, we just do music. I don't know. It's a strange one. Yeah.
I think my problem was, what's that? My problem was that I had I did my usual thing of not researching things properly, and just went that university, yeah, that will do, that course, perfect. Applied for it and got in, and didn't have any other choices, and it was just kind of. And so, really, if I'd looked into a proper course, I would have had something that I'd actually be interested in. I think.
Well, my uni choice was strange because I'd applied for all these places and got conditional in the days where they used to give conditional offers, just to give unconditional.
Yeah.
But I didn't get very good A-level results, so I just went through clearing, and it just so happened that Leicester came up, and I had a couple of mates who were doing music techie kind of things in Leicester at the time, so I thought, well, it's not too far away, let's do that. And I don't know, it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. I've got I think there's 7 or 8 of us lads who we all still get together every 3 or 4 months, like we talk every day, you know, 10 years after, and you think about university and all the contacts that you meet there, and it's a brilliant experience. But it's it wasn't my first choice to go to Leicester, but it was a brilliant choice in the end. So it all works out for a reason, I suppose, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
On your recording equipment, what was your first setup that you had? You said you had one. You had the setup bought for you when you were 16.
I've got a picture of this actually. I'll maybe send it over to you at some point.
We'll put it in the video. Yeah.
So it was a Behringer. I remember all the numbers and everything. Behringer DDX 3216 desk. So essentially, it was like one of the early digital desks with like the motorized faders. And then I had that go into. That was hilarious. It was like a hard disk recorder. It was like punching in and out. And then I could see. So remember, this was like 2003. 2004, something like that. So it wasn't really massive on like audio interface and stuff. I was desperate to get it into the computer because I could see that like all these great studios worked on computers these days. So what I used to do is I'd record everything on the hard disk, and then I'd take just like a phono cable and take it out of the desk, mute everything except the drums, into the line in on the computer, do all the drums, and do all the guitars, and then like spend about an hour lining it all up afterwards and do all that. But it was great fun. I've actually, in a box just up there, I've got the first software that I ever used. It's some like Magic's Music Studio 6 or something. Yeah. And I loved it. It was brilliant. But I had a nostalgia hour the other day, and I tried to get it to load up on a computer, but no chance. It won't work on anything.
Well, going through all those painstaking processes like that gives you a good. It makes you learn how to 100%. Manipulate sound and stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm all for that kind of.
I work in Stanford. I work at the college and like teach music and music tech. And there's another guy who I work with, Matt. He and I often say to students that like the reason that we can do this stuff is because we teach like live sound. The reason that we can set up a PA is because we blew up so many PAs doing it wrong. That like the only way left must be the right way. Do you know what I mean? So you just do trial and error so many times, but you have to have that yearning to do it, you know, and you have to want to do it. And the reason I wanted to do it was because my band couldn't afford to go to a studio, and I had a bit of gear, so it's like, well, why wouldn't I want to do that? Let's spend ages trying to get it to sound right, and it never did sound right because I was still learning. But you've got to have that want, you know, those hours spent when you're young crafting it. And
definitely.
My brother did that on the fretboard, and I did it on the desk, I suppose, you know. So it's a nice kind.
Well, that's what we're trying to do now with our relentless amount of music we're trying to do this year.
I've seen
it was originally meant to be a way of kind of learning, like really kind of figuring out how to get it all recorded at home properly, rather than going to a studio, because we always enjoyed going to a studio, but it's just so expensive when we were doing it. And I was always thinking, oh god, we could do this at home. We could really do this at home. But
100%, and one thing that, so obviously lockdown we're just kind of coming out of now. Lockdown has been in many ways one of the best things that ever happened to me. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but I've got so my missus and our 2 kids. We just had that lockdown. We had time to spend as a family and just be a unit and just play Monopoly all the time, you know. And then it just turned out that so many people were, like you say, recording at home, and they could do the recording, but they couldn't do the mixing bits. So I had so much work coming in. So I was either indoors playing Monopoly with Mrs. and the kids, or I was in the studio. and it was perfect. It was brilliant, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, people always say like, there's that classic thing in the war. How was your war? You know, because everyone had a different experience. It's almost like that with lockdown, isn't it? How was your lockdown?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
mine was brilliant. It was awesome.
Yeah.
so yeah, it's just been that so many people have been creating stuff during lockdown, and I've been fortunate enough that they've wanted to send the stuff to me to kind of take it to the next level, which has been interesting. It's been fun. It's always great stuff people have done from home. You know?
Yeah.
I think the musicians that I've spoken to, or we've spoken to, the ones who have decided to do something a bit different over the last year and kind of change tact a little bit have really loved lockdown. The ones who are like, we're stuck, we can't play live, have not had such a good time. But I think if some people have been a bit more creative and tried to do some things at home and tried to learn how to use GarageBand, because a lot of people have that sitting there and don't know how to use it, but have really kind of embraced the experience, kind of like you've been able to as well. Sorry, just quickly, Steve, what was your first recording setup? Because I know you must remember it.
Well, it was I had an old 4-track years and years and years ago. I can't remember, probably an old Tascam 4-track when I was 16 or 17. But in terms of computer-wise, I had this big old hulking PC with an old cracked copy of Cubase on it, and that's what we used to do recording. And I can't remember the sound card on it. It was some kind of Sound Blaster. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Sound Blaster sound card.
Blaster, I had one of them. Yeah, Creation, mate. Was it Creation?
Yeah, Creation Sound Blaster. Yeah, and then eventually moved up to when I was doing more of my own stuff at home. I was using Cubase with Reason. I had the original Reason to do all the sounds and everything like that. Use all the synths and use all the drums and everything from that. And that was brilliant. I used to love Reason. I found that the other day actually in the cupboard. I've still got that. But,
they're still going, aren't they? Reason,
yeah, they are. Yeah,
and they got record. I can remember when I lived in Nottingham as well. I worked at a place called Stone Soup Project, and we used to teach music tech to students who've been kicked out of mainstream education and stuff. You know, we used to teach them Reason, and they absolutely loved it. You know, and like making beats, and we'd have loads of them wrapped and that. You know, there's a little studio there, and Reason's like the coolest toy. You know, it's
brilliant.
It was never like a real program. It was never like Cubase or Logic or anything. It was just that big rack, wasn't it? And that was quite.
It was, but if you used it with Cubase in conjunction with that, so the rewire it. So you're just literally using it as an instrument essentially, and it's absolutely brilliant for that because the instruments on that at the time were really good, and they probably are still really, really good now. It's been that long since I've used it. But.
I haven't been on it in a while, but I think Cubase, you've hit on an interesting one there because. You get a lot of door snobs, like these people who say you can only record on Pro Tools. I'm not even pass my music through anything else. And we teach Cubase at the college, and Cubase is amazing, man. It's so good. I use Logic in the studio, and then I use Pro Tools for some other stuff, and then I use Cubase at the college. So I kind of have to use 3 of them, and I wouldn't say that any one of them is a clear winner out of the other ones. Like they each have little bits they do better than the others, but there's not one that does loads of stuff better. Like there's so many of them. They're so fantastic. It's just that Cubase isn't like the cool one at the moment.
No.
You know what I mean?
At the end of the day, it's whatever you're comfortable with using and whichever one you are more familiar with. At those days, I was learning Cubase at college, and it was like I could get 3 copies of it, and it was just I was just so used to that software. Yeah. I'd probably get confused by it now, to be honest, because I've been so used to Logic now. I thought it was brilliant at the time, and I'm sure it still is brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you enjoy most, Sam? You've got your playing, you've got your recording, your mixing, college, teaching at college. What part of your professional life do you enjoy the most?
I do like the college stuff, but I mean, when I'm just in the studio, it's great because I'm always spinning so many plates. I've always got just today. Wednesday is my day in the studio, and I've just started doing some freelance stuff for Isotope, all the plugins they do and Ozone, all that. I've just started doing a load of content creation for them. So this morning I was out here at 7:15. I recorded a top 10 mastering tips for them. edited all that. By 11, I'd started on a mix for a girl who's doing some stuff, and then I was writing some Middle Eastern inspired hip hop for an ad thing. I love doing this because it's just so many things that are different. At college it's great because everything's different, and Voodoo Lounge is brilliant because there's no night that's ever the same. But yeah, I do love just being in this room, just at my computer, just getting everything done, because I find myself being so creative. Because I built this place myself, like I've just built it to my own thing. I've got all my guitars there. I've got the one that I use the most just here. I've got a Kemper down here. I've got I've just got everything within arm's reach. I've got a keyboard to pull out here. Everything I want is just within arm's reach, like I say, and it's just, it's the place I'm most comfortable, just sitting right here. So that's good. I like it here.
How long have you had that place for?
We bought the house 3 years ago, and we built it more or less straight away.
So it's a new build studio, is it?
Well, it was it's the house. It's down the bottom of the garden.
Yeah.
And it was a wooden structure, and then me and my dad built like a room within a room, and then we got like double doors on it, and I got all the panels up on it, and it's good. So yeah, we built it from scratch, as it were, and put down all the foundations and put all the power and internet down from the house, and it's cozy, but it's great. I've had full bands in here. The Smokescreen, we recorded our latest single in here. I've had 4-piece, 5-piece bands in here, and it's good.
It's like living the dream for me and Steve. That's like we're listening to you talking, going, "Oh God, yeah." Imagine that. I mean, we're lucky to have a dedicated music room in each of our houses. I mean, some people don't even get that. So,
well, yeah. I mean, because I'm fortunate enough to do music and just music, really. So it does pay for itself. But it's I would say that I had a lot of years of earning no money to then get to the point where I'm all right. And do you know what I mean? And you have to. There's that kind of sacrifice, and it's strange. There was January 25th, 2016. That was a very important day for me, because I started, that was the day I started going out with my girlfriend, and the day I started at college, and kind of, it's weird, isn't it? Like, from that point, like everything just kind of went, and like I just started doing music properly, and it's a weird thing. So I was just kind of scraping around before that, doing a bit of this, bit of that. But then, you kind of have that turning point, don't you? And that's what it's like for me, I suppose. Yeah,
that's brilliant.
Sorry, Steve, I keep jumping in. When did the YouTube videos come about? Is that a fairly recent thing?
That was lockdown.
Right.
I had a conversation with a mate of mine. Do you know Evil Scarecrow? Band Evil Scarecrow. They're Nottingham-based parody metal, as they call them. Anyway, metal band. Known them for years, and the singer and guitarist Matt, he runs a media marketing, I don't know what you call it, company in Nottingham, and he put out a thing during lockdown, and it said he said like free marketing consultations, whatever, take your business to the next level. And I thought, well, I'm kind of looking at making the studio a bit more of a commercial thing, and a bit more of a, I want to do more in the studio, basically. So I booked that with him, and just spent an hour with him, and he just kind of said, well, YouTube's the way forward now. You've got to get yourself out there, and you've got to start doing these videos and be more aware of what's going on. So from that day, I did my first one, had the meeting with him in the morning, did my first one in the afternoon, and then just kind of took it from there, really. And it's fun. And then from that, I then got the work with Isotope, and then it's all just bloomed from there, really. Like I say, you just have one day that kind of changes loads of stuff. But yeah, I like doing the YouTube stuff. It's creating awareness of yourself, isn't it? And it's creating awareness of your own skill set and what you can do, and sharing it in certain places, and being a bit strategic with it. But then just having fun with it as well. I don't take it too seriously. I like to have a bit of a laugh with it. It's always funny to read the comments as well. It's that dangerous place, isn't it? The YouTube comment section.
I don't know. We don't get any.
But I can imagine now, if you're talking sound and equipment, there's a number of people out there that have very strong views on things like that.
I think people talk so much about music and equipment. I mean, you must see it, mate, with guitar stuff and pedals and. What's that one pedal that Centaur, is it, or something? The one that like is thousands and thousands of pounds worth.
Right.
There's always that one holy grail thing that everyone says you can't do anything without this one thing. You know, there's always so much crap spoken, isn't there? And I think I did that video that I think you spoke about earlier. Did that. So it's this mic that I've got here. I did that one compared to like a really cheap one. So that's like £2,000, and there was one that was like 150 quid. And I just compared them, and the basic premise was they're not like 1,900 quid difference. They're really not. And I got people talking to me on forums and stuff saying, well, it wasn't a fair test. And why wasn't it a fair test? Well, you weren't singing the same on each one. What are you on about? They romanticize this idea of the expensive mic. It must be better. There's no chance it can sound anywhere near that cheap thing. But technology is so good, like GarageBand. You can write an album in GarageBand. Of course you can.
Yeah, easy.
There's no limitation there. There used to be 15, maybe even 10 years ago. There were limitations because you couldn't do like cheap mics did sound like rubbish. But nowadays it's not the case, and I think some people are still caught in that time warp. And also I think when people spend a lot of money on something, they almost convince themselves that it must be worth it.
It's got to be. It
has to sound better than the one that doesn't cost as much, or else why would I have bought it, you know?
Lloyd, guitarist in Fuzzenfeldt, he's got his YouTube channel, really successful YouTube channel, which he's reviewing guitars and guitar bridges and pedals. And he can review a £3,000 vintage guitar, but then he compares it to a £100 Squire, and the outcome is sticks through a fuzz pedal. There's not much difference. They're all over it. Go no, and they're arguing about bridges and just he'll do a video of like 10 different bridges on a Jazzmaster or something. The conclusion at the end of it is they're all pretty similar, really, in sound. And people will be going on there going, no, that one's totally different. That one's totally different. No.
It's a bridge, mate. Get over it. I think there's so this is an interesting one. So you like when we were talking about doing this, you kind of said like if there's anything that I want to ask when we're doing it, then too. There's one thing that I was speaking to a couple of mates about the other day. We were looking at studios, and we were looking at how studios advertise themselves. And we found it really interesting that when you look at a studio and their equipment list, the thing that they always rave about is this compressor and this microphone preamp. Musicians don't give a shit about that kind of stuff. And we kind of compared it to like, you don't go to a Michelin star restaurant and have them rave about their favorite oven. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's not something that you care about. Musicians care about, if they're looking at a studio, they care about A, the sound, and B, if you've got that vintage Ludwig drum kit or that amazing Marshall amplifier or something. That's the stuff musicians care about, isn't it? So much crap spoken about stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we were drawn to Sick Room Studios over towards Norwich. Because on their list of equipment, I think top of those lists is just a list of different kind of vintage amps that they've got, and then all the different kind of old keyboards and synthesizers that they've got in there as well. And it's just like, we want to use that stuff on the records, and because they're going to be brilliant. And
I bet it's run by a musician, and I bet he or she is very easy to work with as well.
Absolutely, So Owen from who plays in Magoo, or who is Magoo essentially, or part of Magoo, and his life has been dedicated to music and building that studio in his back garden. And
for me, going in the studio should be a bit like going in a toy shop. You're like, oh my god, I wish I had that. I've never looked at a compressor and thought, I wish I have that.
This is it, and the only people who actually care about that, they're not the ones who are going to be employing you to do anything, because they do it themselves, don't they? You know. There's a studio in Mansfield, and it's in the back of, or it's connected to a music shop. And I always thought that was a fantastic thing. So you can go there, and then if you want to use a certain guitar, you just go and pick it off the rack. And then,
that's brilliant. That is.
That's cool, that, isn't it? Yeah,
it is.
So there's a bit of a niche there, but
talking about compressors, I've been I've been looking into recently. I'm trying to think how to get our vocals in the best that they can be, and I was wondering whether an actual hardware compressor is ultimately much more beneficial than a software compressor in terms of sorting out the vocals. Whether it
no, not really. It will help you when you're on the way in. Like, it will help out a bit. It's quite easy to do more bad than good, because if you were in a separate control room and live room and you weren't the one singing and you could spend a while like tuning that compressor, then it might be. But if you're in a spare room and it's you that's doing it, you're doing it on headphones, you've got that. Where's the objectivity there, you know?
Yeah, and you run risk of over compressing it in the first place.
You can't easily undo that, you know. So
there we go. That's saved me some money.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'd probably save yourself. Plugins can do a hell of a lot at the moment, and I think you'd be better off you've got the Stealth, haven't you?
Yes.
That's a great mic. I think if you were to look at upgrading something hardware wise, then maybe like a decent preamp would get you an extra kind of 5-10%.
Yeah. Well, I'm using the Focusrite 1820.
Yeah.
What is it? I think which has got pretty good preamps in it, but
either one. Yeah.
This is what we say. We've got. I mean, Steve's got the new Mac Mini. I've got a MacBook Pro, and we've got a Stealth mic. We've got Logic. And it's like anything beyond that is going to be for what we're doing. It's kind of small gains, isn't it? It's going to be quite a bit of money for small gains.
You're at no disadvantage there, are you? You know, even if you had all that stuff recording in the GarageBand or Audacity, you know that's you know you're not at any less of a sound really. But no, don't do it.
I think the thing is, I get itchy for gadgets.
Yeah, spend it on beard oil or something. I don't know. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying though. Like you're sometimes looking online and you think, right, what can I tell myself I need?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly it.
It's dangerous, isn't it? But I wouldn't worry about a compressor. If you're in a room that you can realistically like treat, like put some stuff up, then I would buy some wood and buy a saw and buy some material and make yourself some panels. That's what I would say. And you can just like treat your environment first, because that's gonna improve it so much more. You might have already done that. I might be preaching to the choir here.
I haven't done that yet. I mean, that was the conversation with Steve the other day, wasn't it? I was having with you, Steve, and that's the conclusion we came to.
Yeah, well, we're listening through your monitors, weren't we? And to me, it sounded very kind of reverby, very, very bassy coming through his monitors. And when you listen to it in the headphones, it sounded clear as anything. And the only conclusion I could come to was that the fact that it's the room somehow, rather than because the monitor's not going to make any difference. They shouldn't do.
Well, I think, you can convince yourself that you need new monitors if you're in a bad room as well, can't you?
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
you can get a $5,000 pair of monitors in a bad room, and they're not going to sound any better.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think if you think about like the first things you need to do are your reflection points. So like level with your speakers, basically, just get some panels up there. That'll be the first thing. But have you seen SonarWorks?
Yeah.
So, like a room correction thing. So you buy the microphone, it measures your room, then puts the inverse curve of your blah blah. It's amazing. It's so good. With a little bit of treatment and SonarWorks, job done. It's incredible. It really is.
Nice. Thank you very much for your advice.
If you're needing to spend a bit of money, get SonarWorks.
Yeah.
We did hear.
I've got the mic if you want to borrow it, actually.
Perfect. There we go. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'd like to do that. Simon was actually saying that he'd heard that a lot of people are actually mixing just with like the Apple EarPods, for example, just because that's how people are listening to music a lot now.
Yeah.
So
I think
you think of that.
Checking on them is definitely worth it. So I've got kind of two sets of monitors here. I've got my main monitors, and then I've got a little set that I built. Actually, let me see if I can just grab it and show you. It was basically a kit. I don't know if you can sort of almost. It's in like a coffee jar, basically.
Okay.
And it was so you got like the electronics of the amp, and then like the speakers, and then you had to get an enclosure to put them in. So I bought some coffee jars and put them in like that. And they sound like crap, but that's sort of the idea. Like you get something that sounds really good, like your main monitors, and then you get something that sounds absolutely naff. And if you can get it to sound good on both of them, then you've got a good mix. So that's kind of like it is with the Apple earbuds. If you can get it to sound really good on the earbuds, then it's probably going to sound good anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we always do tests for our monitors, tests for headphones. Then there's always the stereo downstairs for me. There's the valve stereo downstairs, and then the car test as well.
Car test. It's the legend of the car test. But it's great as well, isn't it? Because you kind of switch off to what's when you're driving, you're not paying attention to you driving or the music. You're just in that weird limbo mode where you're just going, aren't you? And that's an important place to be, though, because if there's anything that catches your ear, then it's actually a problem. Because if it's taking you out of that zone, then it's like, wow, that must be enough to take another listener out of the zone. So it's a problem. That's what I reckon, anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Did you, just to jump back to the videos a second, did you have to learn from scratch all the video stuff, or did you have those skills already for the YouTube?
No, I didn't have a clue.
Really?
I still haven't got a clue, really. I started doing it like on my phone, and I had like an iPhone X or something. I can't remember what it was now. And then I got the iPhone 12, which was loads better, but still left a little bit to be desired. And then I started doing my stuff for Isotope, and I got my first paycheck through, and I thought, well, they wanted me to do a little bit of on-camera stuff, and I thought, well, I can't work for like a multinational plug-in company on an iPhone, can I? So I treat myself to a new camera. And I happened to, the lights that I've got, someone down the road was selling them, 3 of them for $5. And I was like, that's obnoxiously cheap. So I just toddled down there and got them. They just didn't have any stands with them, so I just popped them on mic stands. And it's amazing. They look brilliant. So I knew nothing about cameras. I knew nothing about lighting. I knew nothing about any of that. So I did what every self-respecting human being does when they want to learn something. They went on YouTube and tried to learn a bit about it. Fortunately, at the college, they have a creative arts department where they have a photography department. They have a photography technician who's fantastic. Shout out to Steve. So he helped me out with cameras and stuff, and he kind of pointed me in the right direction. And just speaking to people who know about cameras, they pointed me to the one that I've got at the moment, the Sony Alpha A6400, which is brilliant.
And what are you doing your editing on? What software are you using?
Premiere Pro, purely because I get it free with the college. What can you say? That free is king. I've heard a lot of good things about Final Cut and DaVinci and all this kind of stuff. I'm looking at getting the new, so I've got the new Mac Mini, but I'm going to get the newer Mac Mini, the one with the M1. And apparently Premiere doesn't play too well with that, so I might switch over to Final. I don't know. I think if I'm going to switch over, now is the time, where I've been doing it for like a year and I haven't got in too many habits with it. If someone were to ask me to go over to like Ableton or something now, I'm like 10 years in on Logic, so I can't. There's no changing over for me now, you know. But while I'm still in my infancy with camera stuff, it's the right time. But no, I'm happy with it. It does what I need to do. I can adjust small amounts of stuff and make it look, put transitions in and put text, whatever. I don't do anything fancy on it, I'd like to.
We're both using LumaFusion because we're kind of learning videos now as well. And LumaFusion is it's an iPad app really, but it's about £30, and it's really, if you're YouTube, it's a really well known kind of video editing as an alternative to Final Cut. Because obviously Final Cut's not cheap; it's about 300 quid, I think. LumaFusion comes in at 30 quid. And for kind of amateur YouTubers, it's just gets rave reviews. And with the we're getting really geeky now with the new M1 chips in the Macs that we've got. Steve's got the M1 Mac Mini, I've got the M1 MacBook Pro. Yeah. And the iPad apps now work on the M1 chip as well.
What's they do? Yeah.
And not quite as smooth and perfect as they run on the iPad, but they are transferring across. And there's a bit of excitement that Logic Pro might come to the iPad this year with the M1 chip.
Yeah, big style. Well, I'm on the 2018 Mac Mini, still on the Intel, and I need to get something better video wise. And I was looking into it, and I can get like an external GPU that's going to be about 400 quid, or I can sell the Mac Mini that I've got at the moment and then buy one of the new ones, and it still runs less than like 400 quid. Do you know what I mean? So if I sell that, then what I'm going to make back on that. So I think I'm going to do that. But it's the ports on the back that I'm not too crazy about. It's not.
There's not a lot there. Not a lot there. I've had to add a little USB port on there just to add some more on there. But I sold I had a 2015 iMac, I think, 21.5 inch one, and then I sold that, and then 100 quid later I bought the Mac Mini, and this
very
no comparison. It's brilliant. With the iMac, I suppose you're paying for this big old screen on there as well, and a beautiful screen on them. But...
Yeah, well, we're lucky at the college. We've got rooms full of iMacs, and we're hopefully, fingers crossed, going to be getting some of the new M1 iMacs for next year as well. So I'm really looking. I mean, yeah, supposedly the M1s are the way to go, but for the laptop, I'm waiting for the next the M, whatever it is, M1X or M2 or whatever it is. Excuse me. But yeah,
I've not had a problem with mine. I've got the lowest of the range one, so I've got the 8 gig RAM one, and I've not had any single problem on it at all. But we're not heavy users of Logic. I don't use too many kind of non-stock plugins, for example, and so it's working perfectly for. I've not had any problem at all, and I think it's for the money. It's absolutely amazing.
Okay, so.
Everybody should be getting them if they are looking at getting a Mac to do basic music recording.
If Apple want to pay us for saying that as well, then
yeah, I'm sure.
They need a hand with their
exactly. Sure, don't
they? They owe me some money. The amount of stuff I keep buying from them, and I'm literally covered in Apple. Yeah. Once you get going, you can't resist anything, then, can you?
No, that's the problem. You get in that ecosystem, and it's
sitting there twizzling my bloody pencil with my iPad and 2 iPhones and an iWatch, and ridiculous, isn't it? And now the new iPad's being. I've got the new iPad Air at the minute, which is perfectly good for what I need to do. I'll never reach capacity on it, but obviously the new iPad Pro is coming out now, so I need that.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, it's it's a difficult thing, but I think. For me, I've always had 2 computers. I've always had my laptop, and then I've always had my studio computer as well. So once I can get my laptop so that I'll actually do something, because I'm on a 2014 and it's just a bit longer too. Once I can get that so it can do video, I'll kind of be sorted really. But it's you always think this is the last computer I'm ever going to need, and then 3 weeks later it's like, oh man, I really want that new one.
Well, we've been here nearly an hour, so we will finish up soon and let you go. But what's in store for the future for you? Do you think about that? Do you make a plan, or just see what happens?
I try not to. I don't know. I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing at the moment and see what happens. Everything that I've done everything that's happened that's been good in the last little while, I haven't planned for, and it's just sort of come along through what I've been doing before that. So hopefully what I'm doing now will lead to something great. So I'm doing like 4 days at college at the moment, and then doing 1 day of my own stuff. So I'm tilting that a little bit. We're going to be doing more of my own stuff, so I'll have more time to do that. So I'll be able to do more. I've just been doing some. I do a lot of production, so artists will come to me and they'll say, "I've got a demo. It's just me and the acoustic guitar. Can you make it sound like a full track?" And obviously the answer is yes, I can. I do all the drums, guitars, whatever, and then they come and do the vocals. I love doing that. I look forward to doing a lot more of that in the future. I've just released some drum sample packs as well, which has been great fun. Like instruments that we can use in Logic and stuff, which is great. I'll send you both the packs.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. That'd be brilliant.
You're fucking paying for them. What am I talking about? So that's been fun. So I'm looking forward to doing a few more of those. I don't know, really, just doing a bit more video stuff. I'd like to I've got this camera. I'd like to kind of take it out and do a little bit of do a little, be that person at the front of the stage, getting everyone's way. It might be quite fun. I won't be any good at it, but
Well, it'd be quite interesting to do a video from the perspective of the sound guy.
Of course. Yeah, I thought that might be quite good.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, there's one viewer.
I don't think I've seen a video like that, to be honest. I mean, I watch YouTube videos all the time, but I don't think I've seen a video from a gig perspective from a kind of a sound guy.
So do you reckon that would be like strapped to me, or like looking at me and get over my shoulder, or what?
You'd have to have a combination of the two, I think. You'd have to be one seeing what you're doing and one kind of
so like one overhead and then one like next to me looking at the
because it'd be fast. I think I'd be fascinated by it. I'm sure other musicians would be as well, because it is an absolute mystery about what you were doing over there. Why is he telling me to go la 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 25 times? What's he trying to do?
All it would pick up is me just going, I wish you'd turn this fucking guitar. No, that's interesting. So what, like from a music, obviously been in bands, I have for years, but like from your point of view, what is it that you like and dislike about soundmen, and like studio and live stuff?
Sorry, Steve. For me, studio wise is when they have their own agenda almost, and kind of.
No, you're going to do it like this. You want to put this in the middle eight. You want to do this in the chorus.
When it's just should be all about working together, going in there, really relax. Just we're there to have a good time, and please record our music for us. And we'll try and find a mutual way of working. But no, I've been to some places where they just take over. So studio wise, for me, that's no good. And live, I think that's what I mentioned before in terms of just trying to shut everything down and getting quite arsy about it as well. Really, really precious about it all. It's like this is their night, and then as in this is Soundman's night, and we're going to do as I say, and we're going to have no fun here at all.
There's a tender balance there, isn't there, between from a live sound point of view, between you want to make it sound good for everyone there, but you understand that making it good for everyone there relies on the musicians performing well, and if you don't give them what they want, they won't perform well, which means that the audience, so there's a bit of give and take there, isn't there?
It's just being friendly as well. Like, I mean, you come up to, I remember you come up to us and you say, all right guys, how you doing? You say hello and we have a chat. It's when because we're all in it together essentially. We're all trying to make a good night.
Yeah, of course.
Everyone involved in that night is trying to make it a good night, from the person on the door to the people on the bar. And so it's when there's this friction between everybody and between the bands and the sound man, and it's just all gets a bit precious and stuff. It's just crazy. We're just there to have fun, aren't we? So
but I think I will say that I don't think it's always the sound man that does that. I think I've been at nights where it has been bands that have been quite awkward with it as well.
Yeah, I can understand
where they'll turn like the ideal thing a band can do is they can turn up on time and they can bring what they said they're going to bring, and they can do what they said they're going to do. I don't really care if you're a terrible band. As long as you've done those things, you're doing your thing. I might not like it, but everyone who's here might like it. I think for a sound man, it's the same kind of thing. Be on time, be kind of nice and polite, and do what you're there to do. But when bands turn up late, and when they then, we were going to bring those amps, but then we just didn't. And then, and they want this and they want that. I think there's two sides to that, aren't there? Hearing it from the kind of soundman perspective, there's horror stories there as well. But
I bet there is.
Yeah, I think 9 times out of 10, the band just wants to have a great gig. The soundman wants to have a great gig. They want the band to perform well so that it makes their mix sound good. And it's a collaboration between the two, isn't it?
Yeah.
It
must get quite annoying when the guitarists have got a big massive pedal board, and every time they press it, they've got another different level of volume that they're doing. Got about 100 different volumes on below their feet. They must get
with pedal boards, what they're like.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's what the sound check's about. And the sound check's almost more important than the actual performance, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
But I think a seasoned sound man will be able to sound check a band, be able to run through each instrument, say, right, do a verse and a chorus. Are you happy? If you're not happy, tell me why you're not happy. Do the same verse and chorus. Let's move on. It shouldn't be a battle. As long as the band understand that and the soundman understands that, you're sorted, aren't you?
Yeah.
Gigs should be a collaboration between the two. It shouldn't be difficult. And places like the Voodoo Lounge, like Michael, makes it really easy. The bands that are all down there are always great, and it's it should be a pleasant experience for all, I think. And then the punters come in and drink all the beer, so that's good.
So are you actively kind of promoting your studio at the minute, advertising and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the nastudios.co.uk, I do a lot of production stuff. So getting more and more, really, people who've done demos and are wanting to take them up to the next level, want me to mix them or want me to add production stuff to it. I'm finding myself doing a lot of mastering as well. I think mastering is kind of a bit of a dark art, isn't it? But it's not. Yeah. It's difficult. It's a weird one. You just got to remain objective about it. But I'm doing a lot of vinyl masters at the moment, which is a different kettle of fish, but it's really fun. A lot of mastering bits, a lot of production bits, a lot of mastering bits, a lot of video bits. But yeah, that's where I am. That's what I do. nastudios.co.uk, or I'm on Instagram and all that kind of stuff, Facebook or whatever. I don't know.
Do you have a good variety of artists coming through your studio?
Loads of weird stuff. Yeah, loads of weird stuff. I've actually just recently, I've had to I used to have loads of rappers come through and want to do bits, and I've just had to just stop that. Not because for any personal reason, but I always find that with hip hop artists and stuff, it's always one song. I want to come in for 1 hour and do this song, which is cool. Like, go crazy. That's your music. That's your vision. But 1 hour in a day, that it blocks out an afternoon for me. It means I can't do anything, so it's not worth my while. I've just mastered it's a guy called Ray Fennick who's around this area. He used to play with Ian Gillan and all these people. He's a bit of a local legend. Just mastered his new EP, and that's I don't know, electronic kind of jazzy kind of stuff, and that's really interesting. Working with a Boston artist at the moment, Alice Cat. Shout out to Alice. Just mixed her track Bubble today. Writing that weird Middle Eastern hip hop stuff earlier on, so that was interesting. But yeah, no 2 days the same when I'm on studio days, and that's exactly the way I like it. I couldn't imagine having a full day of like, right, I'm just doing metal today or just doing jazz or whatever. I have days like that, obviously, and they are enjoyable, but it's nice to know that it's that day, and then I haven't got 2 weeks of that. There's a metal band that I'm working with at the moment, Buried by My Heartache. They're good guys, in Spalding, and it's nice to have the odd metal day every now and then, but I like to have that kind of variety. It's important, I think.
How do you get past growing completely sick of a song by sitting there listening to mixing it? Because I do that with some of our songs. I'll sit there trying to mix it, and after about I just get so bored of listening to that song over and over and over and over and over again to try and get it right. That's why I rush everything, you see.
Yeah, I think you've got to make the majority of your moves, like your mix moves, early on. It's that whole like 80-20 thing, like 80% of the work done in 20% of the time. So much of a mix is just balance. If you've recorded it right in the first place, then it's just going to be a levels thing. Yeah. If you haven't got the levels right after you've listened through to it twice, then there's probably something wrong with the performance or the actual recording of it in some way. But yeah, you do get sick of it. But I think try not to solo anything too much, because if no one wants to listen to just a snare drum on its own or a bass guitar on its own, that's just rubbish. And it doesn't do you any favors either. It's quite easy to make a bass guitar sound great on its own, or make a guitar sound great on its own, but does that actually fit in the mix properly? Nobody's going to listen to that bass guitar on its own, are they? You need to be with the whole mix, So yeah, you should be able to mix a track and make it sound 80% of what it's going to sound like in the final form within, I don't know, an hour or two, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can with our stuff, with the Das Kapitan stuff. We've recently been trying to mix Fuzz and Felt stuff, which has got the live drumming on it, and there is where it becomes difficult, is getting the drums sounding real nice and trying to please, everybody wants a slightly different sound for the drums as well, and you're sitting there trying to figure out how to make those sound nice, whether I'm over compressing things, whether I'm just, I don't know what.
Yeah, I think you can do too much to drums as well, can't you?
Yeah.
Especially like the Fuzz and the Felt stuff, because you want it all, really, don't you? Because you want it to be punchy, but then you want it to be kind of roomy at the same time. You want that natural aggression to it. Yeah. And those two things don't really go hand in hand, but you need them to. Like, if you listen to, like you mentioned earlier, Nirvana, Dave Grohl's drums were always both of those, weren't they? They were always really natural, but they always had that punch to them. Yeah. The reason they had that punch to them is because he hits so hard that they can't not be punchy. So yeah, a lot of it comes down to the playing, which I'm sure is great. But it's it's a toss up. But send them, if you want to hammer it, mate. Just send them over and.
Well, I'd be interested to know what. I'd be interested to kind of send you the drums, for example, and kind of see what you come back with, and just kind of see if I can learn from that, because it's just that's what I'm really struggling with. The truth is, I'm spoiled by Logic drums at the moment because they sound so good, and I've got a preset kind of go-to fat drums, which I call it, which goes on there, which is essentially using the Fat Effects thing on there, and just kind of distorting a few bits, tweaking a few bits a little bit, because we like things distorted and they just have that kind of punch to it all. And and they sound so good. And I've done 75 or 76 songs this year on we're using Logic drums, and now I'm just spoiled by it, trying to get this right sound. That sound. From real drums.
No one's ever mentioned it. No one's ever mentioned that. Oh, those drums aren't real, are they? Like 99% of people.
Yeah, they don't know.
They're not interested. They're perhaps listening on the phone, on the laptop, or they just don't know. They're not interested.
Not important. It's the 5% of people that notice this kind of stuff. It's like the 5% of people who care what microphone you actually recorded it through.
Yeah.
They can tell you're wrong.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Oh, anyway, no, we will. Yeah, we'll send you some stuff, Sam. Really appreciate that. We haven't done this to get freebies from you, I promise. But
well, yeah, you send me your drums. I'll send you some drum samples, and we'll meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, definitely.
That's win-win.
Completely. I like your background, by the way, Stephen. Where is that?
Thank you. That is, I would like to say that is my garden, but I don't know where it is actually. It was a pre-existing background that I had set up for a chat with Matt Humphreys, I think.
Good old Matty.
When we'd
very clown
gone to the pub.
Yeah. Do you like mine? It's a background of a small Lincolnshire recording studio.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm actually in a brothel just south of Dieppe. It does a great impression, doesn't it?
I've got to have the background on because my my little studio room also when all of my kids are at home, because my eldest goes to university and she's now home for a while. She's studying music. It'll take it as it happens, but it also doubles up as a kind of a laundry room as well. So there's all kind of teenagers' underwear behind us. Nobody wants to see all that.
Yeah, thank you.
No, right. Unless you've got anything else you want to say, Sam.
No, great. Thank you for having me. It's nice to have a little chat. And
that's really good.
Yeah, I look forward to some more gigs down at Voodoo in whatever incarnation you guys choose to bring there. I suppose.
Well, we'll be there at the Snuff gig anyway.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'll see you there. Absolutely. Yeah, I can't remember when it is now. Is it November, October?
No, September, I think, isn't it?
September, is it? Brilliant.
So, yeah.
If I'm doing sound, I'll be behind the desk. And if not, I'll be there and I'll bring the missus as well. So that'll be nice.
Nice one.
Actually, that's a lie. It's August because it's a week before my birthday.
Even better. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Nice
All
one.
right, mate. Appreciate that.
All right. Nice one.
Cheers, mate. See you later.
Take care. Speak soon.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.